What for me is success? It should be starting with first, you at least get into a position where you are doing things which you like. You don't do things which you hate. So what is T-shape? That is what most of the employers would like to have as an employee. So if you think of T, the alphabet T, the vertical part of the T actually represents the deep knowledge of a subject or of a role, of a skill. So the horizontal bar represents the cross domain expertise or cross functional expertise or cross discipline expertise, where you add these horizontal skills into your portfolio. It could be a domain knowledge, it could be product knowledge, it could be anything which is complementary to your core skills. This is one of the mistakes which many people are making. So you reach that comfortable position and you want to remain in that. But you don't realize, most of the professionals don't realize that they are not learning anything new. The widely believed concept is that the certifications help in maybe getting a job, maybe getting an increment, maybe getting a promotion. But these are short-term benefits of certifications. Think of career not as a 100-meter sprint. Think of it as a marathon. Sometimes not everybody gets a very impactful start. In a 100-meter sprint, start is the most important thing. If you get a good start, you have the maximum chances of winning. But in a marathon, start doesn't matter.
Here I am, bringing you insightful conversations about modern day career opportunities, perspectives, and powerful stories. Welcome to Career Explore. I am your host, Jay Kishore Bayadi.
So today I'm excited to have Abhishek Srivastava, Chief Mentor and CEO Techcanvass, an IT certification training organization for professionals. Abhishek basically is an highly experienced IT professional with 3 decades of experience in program management, practice development, and business analysis. Currently, as the chief mentor and the CEO of Techcanvass, his third entrepreneurial venture, he focuses on helping professionals build sustainable and successful careers. With a background in engineering from NIT and PGCPM from IIM Kozhikode, he has managed large-scale projects in banking, insurance, and energy sectors. He also advises startups on building strong and customer-focused foundations for future growth. What is interesting is he also written more than 5 books on various business analysis topics, and I'll provide the links to those books, some of his best-selling books in the description as well. So Abhishek, I welcome you to the show and thanks very much for joining. And as you know already, today we'll be discussing an essential topic for all the professionals, that is building a successful career. So, but before we actually begin on the topic deep, can you please, introduce yourself, sharing your background, current role, and experience, etc., just to know you better.
Yeah, sure. So thanks a lot, Jai Kishore. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. I have watched your previous podcasts and they have been very nicely conducted. So first of all,
Thank you.
congratulations on starting this. This is a very nice initiative.
Thank you.
So coming back to my career. So, well, I started, as you mentioned, 3 decades. So in 1994, that's a long time back. I started as my career as a programmer. Those were the days when you start with some pretty non-4GL kind of programming languages, Unix and C, and then moved on to some 4GL programming platforms. But soon I realized that maybe I'm not that good as a programmer. And though I was a little better in SQL and database programming, but really I felt that I'm not very good as a programmer. But there was no option, so I continued for some time. What happened a couple of years later is that we're doing a project for a client, and entire team was on site, meaning sitting at the client location. So We used to develop code, and there was a project leader. We used to go and interact with the client. It so happened that one day the project lead was supposed to go on leave for 4 weeks. So long
Mhm.
leave. So our project manager said, "Okay, why don't a couple of you who seem to be little better in communication go and fill up the gap in this period for 4 weeks?" So we said, "Okay." I got kind of an exit from the programming for some time, so I started interacting with the client.
Mhm.
Uh, and I that is when I realized that basically I'm liking that particular part of what I'm doing, and uh, much better than the programming, at least. So for me, it was like an eye opener. And once the project lead came back, so obviously I was supposed to go back to my programming role, but it happened that the client with whom I was interacting with, he somehow also enjoyed working with me. So he asked my project manager that why don't you allow him to continue at least 50% of the time in interaction with us. So that is how somehow my journey in the client facing role started. That
Mhm.
time, business analysis as such was not a designation in most of the companies.
Mhm.
I was working with Mastic, and there was a role called designation called systems analyst,
Mhm.
which eventually I became later. So what I was doing was primarily the business analysis role, and I really liked that role. So I continued in that role from this client to many other clients, and then moved into project management roles. Now, those days, project managers used to do multiple things apart from managing team and monitoring the projects. They also used to go and capture the requirements. So that was like a pretty busy role. So I continued in that role for several years before then moving on to more senior management roles, and also got the opportunity to set up a practice, Microsoft practice, in one of the companies.
Mhm.
So that was, I think, 2008 or someone when I decided that I want to have something of my own. So I started my entrepreneurial journey. So in 2008 November, I resigned and started my company. So that was with a few friends, and we actually developed some product, and actually Cipla was one of our first clients.
Mhm.
So the start was pretty good, but then somehow it didn't work out. Okay,
Mhm.
so the company got shut down, and for some time it was really hard coming back from the loss of time, loss of money. For some time it was pretty hard, but anyway, I started again. So Tech Canvas started in 2011,
Mhm.
but then again, uh, I started with a product development for healthcare, for hospitals. But again, there I realized that it was too early for developing healthcare systems for Indian hospitals. People who are not very keen on having any automated system for hospitals. Okay,
Mhm.
so that somehow got again shut down. Finally, got into training, and since I was into business analysis and project management, training into these areas was a natural choice. So we got into training, and that's how it is so far. So for last approximately uh, 10 years, 10 or 11 years, we're into training. We started with automation testing. Now we are into business analysis, data analytics,
Mhm.
and many other areas. That's
Okay.
that's been the journey so far.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And so, I mean, one point I would like to ask is that, when you decided to resign from a job, right? I mean, how did you get that gather that courage, right? So because your fixed income, monthly income will stop from next month, and your path, I mean, the future is little uncertain, right? So how did you actually gather that courage and decided to venture out?
Yeah. So basically, the germ, the
Mm,
the the worm or the germ of the doing something on my own, where there's no boss of mine, was
mhm,
always there. Okay,
mhm,
but the initial part of the job, you always have financial liabilities, and we are not coming from. I was not coming from a very high income family.
mhm,
So initially, the compulsion was to kind of settle down, have some kind of a financial stability before getting into a position where you can think about taking risk.
mm,
But the idea of starting of something of my own was always there.
mm, mm.
Okay, so when I thought that now it is enough and I can possibly take some risk, fortunately my wife was working, so that was a big
Oh,
support.
yeah, that's
So
great.
it was not like that if I fail,
Mm,
we will be hand to mouth.
mm,
That kind of a support was always there.
mm,
So that
mm.
helped.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Actually, I wanted to know, how, entrepreneurs take risk. I mean, there are, people read this motivational things, do your stuff, all the stuff, but when you're doing your thing, your own thing is really good, but you need to take a very calculated risk. Otherwise it will be a problematic. It may be, I mean, if you become successful, that's fine, but if you're not, then it will be a big problem in front of you. So yeah, I mean, that's a great thing. You need to take a calculated risk as well. And yeah. So as an entrepreneur, I mean, in your current role, right? I mean, so what is that one thing you love most about your job?
Yeah. So in my current role, which is the CEO of Tech Canvas, I think there are several things which I like,
Mm-hmm.
but couple of things uh, I think I must mention. One is definitely the ability or the role which we are playing in transforming careers for professionals.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there are many professionals who get stuck in their career. 10 years, 12 years down the line, they have reached a stage which is very comfortable, but they also are now feeling that now where to go from here. So they're stuck. They need guidance. They need to understand how to come out of this phase and get into something which is more rewarding and more successful. Similarly, there are a lot of people who come to us from as diverse background as aviation. We have handled people who have come from travel background, teaching background, from aviation, air hostess, though they want to get into IT industry and transforming their career to get into IT industry. Most of them, because we are into business analysis, so most of them have moved into business analysis careers.
Mm-hmm.
But the joy of able to help them even play a small part in their transformation is the most rewarding thing. That is undoubtedly the best thing which is happening in Tech Canvas. So that is one part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Second, of course, since that worm of doing something of my own, where I don't have to report to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do the way I want to build my company without having the pressure to grow at a particular rate. You see, we don't have an investor. We have never raised fund. So I don't have a pressure of growing this company at a particular pace, compromising on many things.
Mm-hmm.
So we are able to build the company the way we believe our core values are. Okay. So that is the second thing which I really like. Even though growth could be slower, but that doesn't matter. The pleasure is always there to grow at the rate or with the values which we believe in. So I think these two things are very important for us, and I really like.
Yeah, yeah, that's really important. I mean, be your own boss. I mean, that's many people dream of, but yeah, yeah. I mean, you need to take a calculated risk to become that your own boss. So yeah, I mean, entrepreneurial journey is a the totally different journey, and it's a totally different beast altogether. So I would like to touch base on such topics maybe in future, but right now, I mean, we'll just talk about the building a successful career, right? So how. a person who comes into an IT industry, how he can build his successful career so that his career progression is almost, or he's smooth, and he is getting rewarded as per the market standards, and his skills are up to date, all those stuff. So you are in you are basically in the world of training, right? I mean, you have seen the problems that job seekers face. You might have seen what employers expect as well, right? So according to you, what criteria define a successful career in today's world? I mean, what is a successful career according to you?
Uh, well, the success. Let me start by saying that success is very subjective and personal.
Mhm.
Okay. For me, success could mean very different thing. For you, success could mean very different thing. For many people, many professionals I know, reaching a CXO position is what they count as success. For some of them, reaching a six-figure, seven-figure CTC is what means as a success. So it's very subjective. But if you want me to kind of give my opinion on generalized success, what for me is success? It should be starting with first, you at least get into a position where you are doing things which you like. You don't do things which you hate. So that if you are in a position where you're doing things at least which you are comfortable with. You're not doing things which you just don't want, but because of the compulsions, you have to do that. That is the first thing which I feel should be criteria for believing that you have succeeded. Second thing, you obviously have to achieve financial independence. You should not be thinking about, okay, next month how will I pay my EMI? How will I spend this much of money to get my kids school fees? So financial independence is extremely important. You have to also consider financial independence in terms of retirement. Are you able to generate that much of corpus so that you can spend your rest of life comfortably? Another important thing for me could be you're able to spend some time with your family. Family time is very important. It's not that in the race to become successful, you're ignoring your family completely. So for me, if you are able to do these three things, you should count yourself as successful for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great piece of insight, especially being with the family. So nowadays, with the global globally located offices, and you are working for a US customer, UK customers, right? uh, the the work life balance, uh, I mean, has been a little low for many people, but for many people have able to manage that work life balance as well. I mean, whatever the three things which you have mentioned, right? That is really important, and we need to every time we need to check those three factors, whether I'm aligned to those three, basically the values or something. I mean, that's a great piece of advice. So as per your experience, what are the key expectations of employers have from their employees? I mean, we are just getting little deep into how I need to be prepared to build a successful career. So what are the employer expectations from an employee, basically, as per your experience, understanding?
Right. So Tim Brown, he is the CEO and founder of IDEO, one
Mm.
of the most reputed design companies in the world.
Mhm.
So once he said in an interview, I think it was somewhere in 2000, early 2000, or somewhere around 2010, that we prefer to hire employees who are T-shaped or who have characteristics of a T-shaped employee. And that
Mm.
is the time when this T-shaped concept started to become more popular. So what is T-shaped? That is what most of the employers would like to have as an employee. So if you think of T, the alphabet T,
Mhm.
the vertical part of the T actually represents the deep knowledge of a subject or of a role of a skill. So if
Mm.
you're working as a business analyst, you are now very good at capturing requirements. You make very less number of mistakes in capturing the requirements correctly. So that's the vertical bar of T. So
Mhm.
that provides you efficiency. You can do this better than others. That is an important part of the employee skills or a professional skill. But
Mhm.
that is not enough, because what employers now expect you to do is, let's say, for example, you're a business analyst, you are very good in capturing requirements, talking to customers, stakeholder management, and so on. But you have done it in, let's say, e-commerce domain.
Mm.
Now, tomorrow, there is a project which is coming in AI or in banking domain. Will you be able to handle that as well? Have you developed yourself in such a way that being a business analyst and being very good at it in e-commerce domain, you can now easily handle the project in banking domain? That is what the horizontal bar of T comes into picture. So the horizontal bar represents the cross domain expertise or cross functional expertise or cross discipline expertise, where you add these horizontal skills into your portfolio. It could be a domain knowledge, it could be product knowledge, it could be anything which is complementary to your core skills, which is represented by the vertical bar of the T. So ideally, what it means is that every employee needs an employee or a professional who is not only good at what they do, but they can utilize that skill or the talent to apply it into new situations. They are not just good at doing something which you have done in the past, but they can use this information and insight to get into newer areas. That is what employees want.
I mean, that's a great piece of insight. I mean, do you think uh, our professionals are, striving to achieve that, the T-shaped the thing, or they just want to get a job? Basically, what are the mistakes, the kind of these professionals make in their careers? As of now, are they running behind the money, without making them competent, or extremely knowledgeable, or skillful in one particular role? What are those mistakes they are making, as per your observations?
So let me put it this way.
Hmm.
So there's no problem in kind of being very concerned about how much money do I earn. I don't
Hmm.
think that is the biggest problem
Hmm.
which the professionals make.
Hmm.
Okay, it's like, think of there is a concept called S curve of learning.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, this was something which was published many years ago in Harvard Business Review
Hmm.
article. So S curve, if you think of S curve, what happens in S curve is the starting point, the bottom part of the S. Okay, so let's say I start my career. I
Hmm.
started as a programmer. So initial part of my career, this which is the bottom part of the S, I'm trying to figure out how to do programming. It's very difficult for me, right? That is something where I'm launching my entry into this particular skill or this particular profile. So I put in my hard work. It takes a bit of time. This is the longest part of your journey, where you start learning new things, you practice it, you make mistakes, and then you get into a position which is the middle part of S, where now you have become better at what you're doing. So your growth is faster. You're enjoying what you're doing, and you're able to grow in the career.
Hmm.
Promotions, money, everything will come your way. There's no problem with that. Now the problem area starts. So after this, you reach a stage where you're too comfortable in whatever you're doing. You become good at it, right?
Hmm.
So because you have worked for so many years in that area, so you become good at it. Now you have reached a stage which is very comfortable for you. Getting good salary, your day-to-day work is very straightforward for you. You don't have to do too much of exploration, too much of digging out, right? So that's an easy life. And that is where the problem starts. This is one of the mistakes which many people are making. So you reach that comfortable position and you want to remain in that, thinking that
mm,
is never going to end. But you don't realize, most of the professionals don't realize that they are not learning anything new. The world is changing rapidly, but you are not. You are at the same place because you're too comfortable. And that comfort zone and the desire to remain in that is the biggest mistake people make. So after a few years, now you're at a stage where you have reached a financial stage, financial status, which you don't want to change. Now you're not ready to take risk as well because there could be financial uh, uh, liabilities, EMIs, so many things will be there. Now
mm.
you can't come out of that easily. So the ability to take risk also starts to reduce. Now, what are you going to do? That is one of the biggest mistakes which people make. Other thing is related to this, but not keeping tab on what's happening around you, right? I have come across many professionals who think that maybe AI is coming. So either people go whole out behind AI or they just ignore it. There's
Mm.
no in between. Keeping a tab on what is happening around me, at least being aware of it. You don't need to kind of become an expert in everything, but at least keeping an eye on if AI is coming, cloud computing is coming, whatever new thing is coming, at least understand what's the implication. Whatever area you're working in, is it useful for you? Does it have any use cases which are going to make a difference to your client or to the client which you are serving? These two things every professional has to be alert and aware about. Otherwise, you reach a stage where maybe it is point of no return, and that is very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. The comfort zone puts people at risk. I mean, I have also seen many professionals, who doesn't want to, learn some advanced, techniques within a space, right? I mean, within a, space, because they are in a particular project. They don't want as of now in that particular project. So I'll be in this project for another few years. So they basically postpone things, that is really, so not, advisable. And as usual, it's, really great points which you have made, Abhishek. Thanks so much for that. So continuing our discussion, Abhishek, so are there any, structured approaches or frameworks, to avoid this, the career mistakes, as per your experience, how you can, someone has made some mistakes. I mean, they didn't, within that, they remained in the comfort zone. And so how they can, now get up to speed.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So this is as in the last question's answer, we were talking about the mistakes which professionals make.
Mhm.
So one of the frameworks, or rather, an approach
Mm.
to kind of avoid these kind of situations, uh, it basically comes from the S curve itself. Okay,
Mhm.
earlier I was talking about S curve. So what I'll do is I'll also send you these images, which you can also use so
Mm.
that it becomes clearer when people are watching it, because the
Mhm.
visuals, those visuals are very
Yeah, yeah,
helpful in understanding.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So, so there is a lady called Whitney Johnson. She wrote a few books also on disruptions and smart growth. So uh, she just took forward the concept of S curve and said, okay, when we talk about S curve, so there was a situation where when you're starting in a new job or in a new role, or you're learning something, the initial part of the thing is a little difficult. It takes a lot of time. So what she suggests is that, one, when you're starting up and you're trying to learn something, try and get into some kind of training, or get some mentor who can help you in traversing that part faster. So it's like a hack. It's a small hack to that part of the learning where you can speed up the thing so that you can reach the uh, growth phase or the sweet spot, the middle part of the S faster. So that is one part of the approach. Now, as you are starting to reach a stage where you're feeling you're becoming more comfortable with whatever you're doing. So you're basically getting into a comfort zone. That's the time when she suggests that you start a new S curve, meaning you start learning a new skill. You remember we talked about T shape.
Mhm.
That is where you can start picking up things from the horizontal bar, which is the cross discipline expertise. So it could be learning agile, for example, as simple as agile, learning about a domain, learning about product management. There's so many things, but always pick up something next based on what is happening around you. Right, that is one of the problems which people ignore. So if you are keeping abreast with whatever happening around you, you can pick up the next thing which is more relevant to you compared to others. There could be hazard things to learn, right? But you can pick up only that which is the most important in your career. It could be also that, let's say you're working in a company
Mhm.
and there are new projects which are coming in a particular area, right? So instead of having a pre-planned thought that, okay, I'll learn the domain, why don't you learn something or start the next S curve based on the new opportunity in your organization, right?
Mhm.
That will be a much better approach so that you can also be using the opportunities which are coming your way. Okay. So the idea here is that you start with one S curve. Before you get into the comfort zone, you start the next one. So your entire career basically should be a series of S curves, one starting after the other. As you're approaching the comfort zone for one, get into the next. So this is like a framework and an approach which you can follow throughout your career. And that particular approach, I also believe that it's possibly a very good and robust approach to build your career.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a really interesting thought. I mean, the series of S curves. Your career should be series of S curves. Yeah, I mean, it's basically the technologies evolving, they change. The expectations change. So basically, what you're saying is we should be ready to learn and adopt. As much as possible to stay relevant. I mean, that's a great insight. What I understand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean, do you believe that there is a career which is future proof? I mean, without S curves, uh, you know, you can survive. Is there anything called future proof career or job?
Uh, See, especially in today's world where the
Mhm.
operative word is speed.
Mhm.
So we are looking at speed of change, speed of execution, speed of growth. Everything is in kind of super speed. So having anything future proof is going to be really difficult. There's no guarantee. But I think there could be certain things which we can do or acquire in terms of skills, which are more long lasting. Kind of there's no expiry date for those skills. Okay. A lot of technology skills always have an expiry date, but there are certain skills which don't have an expiry date. They last forever. So one of the things could be the ability to solve a problem, the approach or the ability where you look at a situation as a problem and figure out a solution which is good for everyone, for a client, for you, for your organization. So problem solving is possibly one of these skills which is really relevant, uh, I think, in any foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Even all the new technologies and trends which are coming up, whether it's AI, data analytics, or anything which may come in the future, it's all about how these technologies can be used to solve a problem,
Mhm.
right? So that is something which is very important. Second thing could be the communication skills or any of the soft skills, like how do you handle client? Do you have the ability to understand customers' problems, the customer empathy? So the empathy, developing that ability to understand customers' needs and using the problem solving approach to give them a solution which works for them. That is very, very important. And these are ageless skills. They have nothing to do with technology. They have nothing to do with any trend whatsoever. So if you have this, and if you can utilize that, uh, you kind of be in a position where you can be ready for any kind of future changes. Of course, technology being technology,
Mhm.
you have to still keep abreast of it and keep learning it.
Yeah.
Okay, that cannot be future proof.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I mean, you have also touched a little bit about soft skills as well. So, uh, what are those, some of the, the most critical skills? I mean, obviously, ability to solve the problem you have already mentioned, and customer empathy, understanding the problem, and trying to solve the problem. It's etc. And apart from these, what are the top two or top three most critical skills that IT professionals should focus on developing right now, apart from your regular skills? For example, your communication, how, what do you expect? I mean, what is your take on this?
Uh, so if you look at it from uh, an IT career perspective, I would
Mhm.
say that couple of skills which are going to be very important. This we are not talking about only the soft skills, right? Any
Mm.
skills,
Mm. Yeah, any skills that are
any skill.
basically, yeah, uh, yeah, correct.
Okay, so there are two things which I can think of right now. One is, of course, anything which is related to data. Data is, as people are keep saying, data is the new fuel. So data skills are very important. So whether uh, uh, it is about data engineering, having the ability to source data from multiple sources, polish it, refine it, and then use it for visualization or drawing insights. Or you are kind of somebody who is using that refined data to analyze data, to create visualizations, great visual charts, or you are a data scientist who are able to put in certain algorithms to predict insights for the customer. These are all extremely important skills in today's world. So any data skill is going to be very, very important, because we are moving away from the stage where automation was the primary service of IT industry. So we kind of moved away from manual to automation systems. Then we get into process automation, optimization processes. Now we are moving away from that, where we are now using data to draw insights, and that is really going to be very, very in demand thing. So that is very important. So anything related to data, whether you are a programmer or a non-programmer, it doesn't matter. You can still learn data skills. The second thing is information security. To me, because we are living in a connected world, information is being shared across, whether it's peer to peer, organization to organization, any which ways. A lot of data is being shared around. So there's a lot of problems in terms of securing that data. Okay. So info security is going to be a really big thing. Okay. And that is something which is not in mainstream, not a
Mhm.
very high focused area, but I believe that is very, very important. Now, in all of this, I have not mentioned AI, not
Mhm.
because I'm ignoring it. I'm not ignoring it. I'm just saying that think of the internet. When internet first started, right? It was always believed that it's going to be a big thing. But now when we look at the businesses around us, look at LinkedIn, look at Facebook, look at Amazon. They are using internet as a default platform to offer their services. Internet is not a separate skill or separate technology. It is inherent in everything. What I believe is AI is going to be like that. It is going to be inherently used by analytics professionals, by information security professionals. So, for example, look at information security. One of the things is to have the ability to assess if there is going to be a threat to our data, to our network. Now, that kind of a solution is required by information security professionals. How they're going to do that? Threat detection and having that algorithm to be able to predict the upcoming threats is something where AI is going to be used. So it's not, AI cannot be separately treated as something which is completely different and in isolation. It is going to be part of all these things which we are going to do. It's pretty much like internet.
Mm.
So whenever I am talking about analytics and information security, AI is going to be part of it. It is going to enable the solutions which we are looking at. But according to me, these two areas are very, very important going ahead.
Yeah, that is really helpful. You talked about the cyber security and data protection. Is one of the hottest area, and also AI coming into with the advent of AI, right? I mean, how they will add value to this, the new opportunities, or the ecosystem. Uh, so that's really great. So yeah, I mean, other than this, the cyber security, right? Cyber security, or your data security area. Which are uh, the hot areas, one or two hot areas you think, entry level people, I mean, the people who are just coming out of college, or engineering, who just passed out, or someone who is already working for some working for past few years, who want to transition into some of these hot roles. I- which job roles you would like to suggest them? I mean, this is how, these are the two roles, based on your experience, you can start, and this is how its future looks like, or something like that.
Okay, so in terms of specific roles, I think there are two things which I definitely feel they're good starting point, and also
Mhm.
they have the ability to offer multiple opportunities
Mm.
going ahead. One
Mm.
is, of course, I'm biased, business analysis. So
Mhm.
business analyst role is something which is very exciting.
Mm.
Not only to get started with, but also it opens up a lot of opportunities. So as a business analyst, one of the core skills which you need to develop is the ability to understand the customer problems and finding a solution for the customer. Now, this ability of a business analyst and working with the client can be taken further into any of the areas in the future, whether it is about data analytics, whether it is about AI or cybersecurity. This business analyst ability or the skill of problem solving and client handling is something which opens up a lot of new opportunities for every professional. So you start as a business analyst, then you can get into even business analysts can get into management consulting, work with large consulting companies, PricewaterhouseCoopers, McKinsey's, or PwC. All those things are possible for business analysts to grow into. So this is one area which is definitely pretty good. For others, people who are a little more kind of creative, UI and UX, uh, they're two different things, but user experience is something which is really hot because we are looking at a lot of businesses which are user centric. Look at any of the e-commerce websites, any of the networking websites. I mean business networking, LinkedIn, Facebook, all these companies. Look at Uber. Look at any of the applications which is used by general public. User experience is absolutely paramount. So if I go in and start using something, it's very important for the business to ensure that I'm able to do what I want to do in minimum number of steps with minimum hassles. That is what is user experience. So to be able to design the user experience, to be able to map user journeys into something which is really good is an absolutely brilliant work. And people who are into user experience, they are absolutely highly paid professionals. So that is another area which I feel is good for anyone who's starting their career. Think about these two as part of whatever else you're thinking of.
Yeah, got it. So, some natural questions. So, see, for example, get into a business analysis or several other, roles, right? So there are so many certifications are available, right? So, do you think these certifications really help one to gather that the real insights or the knowledge required, for the job? And what is the kind of role these certifications play in upskilling, compared to a hands-on experience, or hands-on, or self-learning? Because some people may not afford some high, or pricey certifications out there, though they are valuable, as per the market, needs, etc. So what are your thoughts on that? How you have to plan these certifications, or are they really help? Could you give some advice on that?
Yeah, actually, that is very important question. I think, see, the widely believed concept is that the certifications help in maybe getting a job, maybe getting an increment, maybe getting a promotion. But these are short-term benefits of certifications. Okay, let me share with you something which is really more valuable and long-lasting as far as certifications are concerned. Okay, so let me give you an example. So many years ago, we are doing a project for an insurance company. So we're implementing a product, insurance product for that company. And so we customized the product. It was a product implementation. We customized the product and set up all the processes. And when we finished it, did our own testing, we went to the client site, okay, which was somewhere in November, December of the year. So we went there and we set up the data, we set up the server, and we got to the testing of the software, that is a UAT from the client. So client did all the testing and everything which functionality wise it was okay, and with some corrections of course. So then after it ended, we said, okay, now everything is done. Let's put it on production and you give us a sign off so that we can move out of this country and go back. That is when customer said, oh, but we haven't seen the financial reports. We have to see whether balance sheet is matching with our manual system or not, and whether the profit and loss account, whether all the financial statements are matching the manual system or not. So we said, okay, you try it. No. That we want to do it at the end of the year, end of financial year. Now, we didn't have an option. What would you do? You can't fight with the customer. Say, no, you have to give the sign off. They didn't give us the sign off. So we had to come back, wait for a few months, and then go back again. Three of us had to wait for 3 months. No work was assigned. Permanent work was assigned to us. We're just waiting. And then we went again in March to restart the UAT, take out all the financial reports, match it with the manual system, and then we got the sign off. What was wrong here? What we missed was acceptance criteria. Now, it is something which is not a normal practiced stuff at that point in time, at least. Maybe it is now, but at that point in time, not everybody was aware that there is something called acceptance criteria, which is so important. We learn through the mistake. Now, learning through mistake can be very expensive. So one of the benefits of a good certification is that you study a book, which is a body of knowledge. So whether you're talking about PMP, you study PMBOK. Whether you talk about business analysis, you study BAPOC. These body of knowledge books are written by practicing professionals. So if I'm a practicing professional, I know the mistake I committed. So I put that into the book so that people who are reading it don't make the same mistake.
mm,
That is the real value of a certification. If you read it correctly,
mm,
what you're learning is the best practices, apart from the overall core knowledge of how to do things, whether it's project management or it's business analysis or something else. That anyway you learn. But
mm.
at the same time, you're learning something which is a best practice, which will help you in avoiding the mistakes which people make. There are several things which you can learn through these body of knowledge books, which are part of these certifications. The only thing important here is you must look at a certification which has the real value, not something where you sit for one day for training and get the certification by end of the day. That value cannot come from those kind of certifications. Okay, so that for me, that is the real benefit, in addition to, of course, the increments and the promotions, whatever you get, that is also very important.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with your, basically, the value some great certifications, I mean, real good certifications, can offer. Don't go after with all certifications out there, just to showcase, you have 100 certifications on LinkedIn, etc. Right? I mean, I have seen many people doing that. But if you have some handful of really some real good certifications that adds value to adds that gives that learning and insights that can be practiced or implemented in your day-to-day work, right? I mean, that's what the value you get out of a certification. So you should go for such certifications. So yeah, I mean, that's a great insight you were offered, and I totally agree with that thought. So, I mean, so in many aspects, like for example, understanding which is the right certification is for me. Okay, there are so many offering, right? I mean, sometimes this our professionals are get stuck. So, what is the importance of having a mentor, right, and to or a coach to guide your or a professional's upskilling journey? Do you think mentorship helps, really helps, or self learning? Because see, the information is available in the internet. Okay, so
Correct.
everything is available almost. Okay, so but in despite that, how a mentorship or a coaching can help a professional to upskill.
I think it's very important. I think having the right mentor or a coach is absolutely critical. It can actually soften a lot of blows which you get in your career. So both in terms of guiding you the right way, if you're stuck somewhere or you're facing a problem, a mentor or a coach can really help you in terms of taking the right path. Otherwise, if you're trying to do it yourself, it will become more cumbersome. It could make more time. You can make more mistakes. So that is, professional mentors and coaches can play a very, very significant role in anybody's career. In fact, mentors could also be like, there are professional mentors and coaches, but there could be also somebody, a good soul, can come your way in your career and help you. So if you remember, I was talking about my career.
Hmm,
That client proved to be a good soul. He helped me in moving out of the programming role, which I was not anyway liking.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
So somebody like that can also come here and change your whole career path, isn't it?
Yeah.
So uh, that can also happen. But you see, the significance of these small nudges, these small insights, these small helps can go a big way in transforming your career or making your career very, very successful. So the only problem with this, or only challenge, is that getting the right mentors can be challenging.
Yeah.
So you have to really understand that, one, uh, professional mentorship is not something which is very structured profession. Okay, there are many professionals who can guide you, who have experience, who can guide you. But if you professionally start seeking a mentor or a coach, at least I have not very kind of very much aware that there are so many uh, mentors and coaches available who are really going to help you and not make money out of it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a challenge. But otherwise, the role of a mentor or a coach just cannot be denied. It's very significant for me.
Yeah. And sometimes you should be lucky enough to get
Yeah,
a good mentor, and it's like a getting a right guru in your the journey of life, maybe a spiritual
yeah,
life as well. Only thing
correct.
is what we can expect is continuously seeking that, have a look
Yeah.
around. And yeah, I mean, there is no proven formula that he can be a right mentor for me, right? So I mean, that's really it's a.
One thing, sorry for interruption. Just one thing I want to add here
Mhm,
is that also one important thing, as you're mentioning about seeking for mentor or guide.
mm,
One of the things which many professionals also not do
mm,
is to actively ask for help or guidance.
mm, mm, mm,
We are very hesitant in asking for it. So when
mm,
you're seeking for a mentor or guide, you are also actively going and asking for help.
mm, mm,
Don't hesitate in asking for help. That is absolutely first step in getting the right mentor.
mm, mm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so no one should hesitate in asking for help.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, that is also one hindrance. You know, yeah, I mean, I have seen they hesitantly ask, you know, uh, yeah, I mean, but that's the kind of a, phase they have. I mean, eventually, when the situation demands, people, the situation makes them to, move further, etc.
Hmm, hmm.
So, yeah. So, I mean, coming to our, almost, it's end of the hour. So, what are the top two advice, you have for, the career aspirants in the IT industry in general? How they should prepare themselves this, face this, the competitive world. I mean, now the AI is also kind of seen as a competitor for your job. I mean, I don't know how true it will be, or how true it will turn out, but any top two advice for career aspirants in the IT industry in general, if you would like to give right now.
uh I would say, uh yeah, let me start with a simple thing, is
Mm,
that think of career not as a 100-meter sprint. Think of it
mm,
as a marathon. So sometimes not everybody gets a very impactful start, right? Let's say, for example, you're not from a top B school. You may not get the start which those top B school grads get, but it doesn't mean that you'll not end up better than them. In a 100-meter sprint, start is the most important thing. If you get a good start, you have the maximum chances of winning. But in a marathon, start doesn't matter. What matters is, are you able to keep up with the race for the 40 odd kilometers? Are you able to kind of keep your stamina ready for the last push in the last few meters, last 100 meters, last 500 meters? That is how you should look at the career. So career is, as we earlier also discussed, it's like it's a multiple S curves, learning various skills, upgrading yourself so that you are ready for the future, or you are keeping at least yourself aligned to the changing world. That is one of the things which I would advise everyone, that don't get too kind of dejected, or feel bad that okay, your start was not that good. Okay, ultimately what matters is where do you end up. it doesn't matter where did you start, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
So that is the first thing which I would always say everyone, that don't get too much bothered about the start. Second thing is, a lot of people go after things which their colleagues, their friends, and maybe relatives have done, and they have done well in that particular job or particular role. So if somebody is becoming a data scientist, okay, is it good for me? Am I, do I have the aptitude to become a good data scientist, or do you have the aptitude to do well in that particular role? Somebody, Mr. X has done it. It doesn't mean that I will also be that good in that particular role. Maybe my aptitude wants me to go into some different career. So don't run after something which looks very glamorous, something which is a fad, just because everybody is talking about it. It does not guarantee you anything. You have to play to your strengths, and not because everybody else is going behind something. So you just run behind it and you put all your energy, investments into it. And then you end up in a place where you are actually going backwards. You're not going anywhere. So always remember, you have to judge yourself. Look at your positives. Everybody has positives. There's absolutely no human being which I have seen who doesn't have a positive thing. So identify that. That is where coaches and mentors can help you in identifying what are your strengths. And then based on that strengths, look at what you can do best. So these are the two things which I would advise every professional.
Yeah. Those are very valuable, Abhishek, and I totally agree with that. Understanding one's strengths. I mean, it's not a one day, 1 weekend exercise. You have to continuously explore yourself. It's a journey basically. So, but
Correct.
yeah, so take time, and you need to nothing will fall off. So like you said, right? So yeah, I mean, the conversation was very impactful, Abhishek. I had, I mean, in terms of such the insights are really necessary for our upcoming or the or practicing professionals as well. Whenever such insights or information nuggets will definitely help you. And I would like to thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this particular podcast which I have just started. So and it's really great knowing you, and I really got some insights from your experience, your the thought process. And I hope this will be helpful for people who are listening to this podcast, or viewing this podcast in multiple channels as well. And I'd like to thank you so much, and would like to wish you all the best, and for your endeavors, your ventures, or anything which you are planning to do or you are currently doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jai Kishore. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I hope whatever we discussed and shared, I think it proves to be useful for professionals. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would definitely think so. Thank you so much. Have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.